Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live Filmmaker Q&A with BJ Vero and Brad Crawford for The Return. This is BJ co-wrote with Ken Jansen, directed and produced, and Brad also was the cinematographer and did some of the editing. I like your background, Brad. That thing is terrifying. So we're just gonna jump right in. BJ, you guys watching may remember BJ Vero or Verot?
Vero, yeah, you're right.
Vero is did Echoes in the Ice from 2018, and it's on our DVD and Blu-ray from that year. An excellent example of like some classic, almost Carpenter style cosmic horror, but I think it even goes farther down that like cosmic horror lane than Carpenter usually does. Another excellent film. Anyways, if you haven't seen that, check that out. But we were really excited when BJ told us that he had a feature film coming out, and we're very excited to look at it, and it did not disappoint. I'm happy to say that it was one of the high points of the festival submission watching for us, and just of general movie watching this year, because this year has been rough for all of us, so we need those high points. So how long have you, so when you worked on Echoes in the Ice, I think a lot of people thought that might turn into a feature film, and indeed I did, and I was like, ooh, is this going to be like the feature-length version? But it seems like you had maybe a script in mind, or were in pre-production or something for The Return. Like how did you go from Echoes in the Ice to The Return?
Oh, I've heard that a lot actually about Echoes in the Ice. A lot of people really enjoy that film, and I wouldn't be surprised if it did become a feature in the future. However, I believe when I came down to the festival in 2018, which was in October, if I'm not mistaken, already had the funding for The Return. So I was already, I guess, in very, very early pre-production. Oh, no, wait. Brad, I guess if it was October 2018, we would have just shot it, right?
Yeah, we shot it this summer.
So we were just in post. Sorry, I'm backtracking a year.
Oh, wow.
We shot Echoes in the Ice in 2017. So,
okay.
So we were already ready to go, like into the edit phase. And the nice thing about The Return is it was something a little bit different. For me, I always like to be doing new and exciting stuff. So if I were to do the short version of Echoes and then jump right into the feature version of Echoes, I feel like I'd be like treading the same ground. So it was nice to kind of jump into something new and different. And then, and to be honest, because I think a lot of people have really enjoyed Echoes, I don't know why, but I feel like that's my my ace in the hole. So if I like try to just bootstrap something and get it going really quickly, I think that's the one that I can really try to get going into another production.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's your fallback position.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's because I really enjoy that film too. It's probably one of my favorite projects that I've ever done. So, the way I'm looking at it is, we already had The Return underway, and then now we've got a little bit more experience in the feature format, and we'll just take these extra tools and move that into the feature forum. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Nice. So are you working on something now, or are you just kind of taking a little break to regroup?
Well, everything kind of shut down, I guess, during the pandemic. However, we were in post-production on The Return. So what that allowed for us to do, or for me to do, I guess, was have like a captive audience for all my post-production people. So it was great. We got the film done and we submitted this. But I am working on a new script. And I think I think it'll be a really popular one, maybe with your festival in a year or two, if we can get it going. Just depending on what obstacles we may face. Just again with the pandemic and COVID and whatnot. But like this one here is starts as The Return starts as a classic haunted house, and then it obviously like really kind of hinges in that third act and goes very hard into the sci-fi realm. But the next one that we're working on is like I would say it definitely draws its inspiration from like a bit more of the Lovecraftian mythos, I guess you could say, without being overtly Lovecraftian. In that we're not naming specifics, I guess. It's within, his creations, but it's like right up there. So I don't want to say too much because it'll kind of give away some of the fun, but there's going to be some cool stuff coming, I think, in the future.
Okay. All right. Well, so let's talk about The Return. I mean, it kind of starts out as it starts out, maybe you're thinking it's a road trip movie because there's three people basically on a road trip, and then you discover that they are going to his family home because his father has been killed or was found dead, and he has to kind of deal with the settling the estate and going through all of his father's stuff, and it dredges up all these memories. And through this process, he discovers a lot about himself and about his family and his childhood. He also has a sister who has died, and that also plays into this. So I'm just recapping for people who might be watching this.
For sure.
In between things. So, what was the genesis of the story? Like, where did the story come from? Is it something? And the time travel element is also a big factor in this. Is that something that you really wanted to marry with the horror haunted house and time travel and cosmic horror?
Yeah, I guess you've hit a lot of the nails on the head there. Basically, Ken, the co-writer for this project, he already had like a draft kind of built for The Return, and so when I came on board and we started working on it, the stuff that really appealed to me was I really enjoyed how it started as what we would consider, a classic haunting, and I really liked that third act shift. That was something that really appealed to me, and I guess within like the construct of the whole film, I also really enjoyed how there's like a ripple effect moving both backwards and forwards from the teen Roger timeline. So I mean, essentially the film takes place in three timelines. We have our contemporary timeline with Richard and Sarah and Echo, who are our leads of the film, and then the two flashbacks. We have teen Roger, and then we have young Roger. So Roger's mom disappeared when he was a teen. So basically all of the horror elements take place 6 years in the past from that. So young Roger, and then 6 years in the future, which is our contemporary timeline Roger. And I really enjoyed how we were able to find ways to kind of like bookend similar scares going in both directions. Like, for example, in the shower, that's when he first saw his mom in the shower as a kid. And then we also saw him showering as an adult. And there were these two moments that exist that are similar yet different. Same thing with the bed when he was reading the book as a kid. And then, in the contemporary timeline, when the wispy ghost comes out of the vent and crawls into the bed. So there was like these kind of moments that are mirroring each other as they move in different directions. And I thought that would be a pretty challenging aspect to the film. So, I mean, I guess as far as first features go, I definitely got my share of like hard work and planning and prep in just how we had to shoot this thing, because we had multiple makeup effect suits with the skinned mom and the wispy mom. We had like kid actors, 3 different timelines. So there was just a lot of challenges that I wanted to take head on and see how we did. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out.
Nice. Bringing up the effects with the skinned mom and wispy mom, how influenced were you by other films for those visual effects? And what would you say your influences were?
Some people thought maybe Hellraiser, and I think I drew from that inspiration. But our makeup special effects artist, Emerson Ziffel, he's worked on like a ton of amazing stuff. He worked on Krampus and Wolf Cop and all this. And actually, he just revealed that he has never ever seen Hellraiser. So I guess it was an inspiration for him. But you wouldn't be able to tell because it looks really cool and reminiscent of that film series. But basically, I mean, both of the ghost moms, I really wanted to. I mean, we had an opportunity to do scares in a different way, right? So I really wanted the two versions of the mom to look very different. So we had like the dark skinned, more like your, like your what you would expect from a haunted house. Maybe if you're thinking like maybe something from The Ring or like something from the, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Like The Conjuring, maybe.
Pardon me? Yeah, something from The Conjuring, like something that like I guess almost in a sense that because it starts as a classic haunted house, I wanted the ghost to also kind of marry into that idea, so that when we did jump to the flashbacks, there was a stark contrast. And as far as like the stylistic approach goes, I guess, I mean, really, Roger's mom, tried to do time travel with the corrupted equations. So essentially, the way we kind of looked at it was almost like her physical entity went to the past, and then like her spiritual self kind of went into the future. So it was kind of like that was the reason for the two different versions, and it just let us play with different looks and feels and how we did our filming.
Okay, nice. And speaking of filming, did you film in an actual house? And what were there challenges that were presented by being in an actual space like that?
Yeah, we did shoot on location. I'll let Brad take this one here. He can tell.
Yeah, we spent
Filming in the
10
house.
days back to back in a house, an actual person's house. And so, yeah, I mean, the challenge was finding that location. That took a while. And just, getting the right space, because you have to, you have to stage all of these different events. Like one of the trickiest things was finding a house where, logistically you have a stairway that's near an entrance that you can create these kind of moments with the interactions for the ghost. They get pulled down the stairs. A couple people get pulled down different stairs. And you need to kind of think about how you can stage those scenes where people aren't walking for 10 minutes to get to the right place on location. So what we actually had to do was build a fake doorway in front of that basement stairs that has, it's just an open stairwell. So we actually built a set piece that makes it look like it's part of the location, and so that we could have a door that then shuts when she gets pulled down the stairs and disappears, and makes it more ominous, and kind of sets the stage for them not realizing that Beth was killed. So that was one of the major challenges for the art department specifically. But then also we shot a lot of day for night. Almost the entire film was shot during the day, but we had to make it look like night. So we blacked out the entire house. We hung black curtains outside, the house, for like a good couple days. And of course, this is midsummer time, so it's plus 30 Celsius, whatever that is in Fahrenheit, like 100.
It was probably about 102 Fahrenheit, I think, outside
Oh my God.
in the film.
And then it rained and got really hot, so it turned the whole house into just a giant sauna, and we were dying. So that was the biggest challenge of shooting at a location like that, I think. But
yeah, if I could just add one thing too, actually, Brad, you touched on a really interesting point. Yeah, because one of my goals, I guess, for Beth's death scene is my goal was to try to capture her death in a oneer, in a sense that like she gets killed and the door slams to the basement, and then without cutting, we like basically, as the door closes, the entranceway opens, and then Richard and Jordan come back into the house. So yeah, unfortunately, we had to task our art department with essentially building like a door facade over the stairwell so that we actually had the geography to shoot it as we intended. So yeah, actually, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out, though. I think we did 2 takes, and the timing on the second one was good, and we got a third one just for safety.
I think we used the second take. Yeah.
So I think the hard work paid off. That was a cool shot, and I'm pretty happy with that.
That was that was striking. Like that was a nice moment where, like, oh my God, she's being dragged into the basement, and here they come. They have no idea what's going on.
Just missed it, right? Yeah. So it was fun, right? And I didn't want to have to cut. I really wanted it to all feed in the same shot. So maybe as the viewer, you get the sense that they could have, maybe helped her if they'd just been there like earlier.
Like a second earlier, yeah. Or just in time to hear the door close or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Very nice. So for Brad, like what was your favorite thing to shoot?
That's a good question. I mean, I liked a lot of the flashback sequences, I guess, just because there's a lot more freedom, I guess, in terms of style. Like a lot of the basement set, I found that to be a lot of fun. So that basement is actually not attached to the house. It's a completely separate set that we built. And the art department just killed it with those, those lovely equation whiteboards. And so I was able to go in there and like properly rig it up with some really nice lights and control, the atmosphere with some different lighting cues and things like that, and kind of create a fun space that we could really play in. And I think the basement stuff, I don't know, there's something about it. I think it's also a couple really fun moments with Skin Mom, as we affectionately call her. And I think that tended to work out really well. But yeah, I think the basement's kind of they do call me Basement Brad, so that's
Yeah, that was a nickname that Brad got on the on set. So he's Basement Brad now.
yeah.
In the credits forevermore.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the hardest thing to shoot?
Some of those bedroom scenes I think were really challenging just because of the physical space. Again, working in a house, we don't have control. We can't move the walls. So, we're tucked up against, like, at times I'd move the bed out and I'd be on the ground under the bed shooting up, or, those types of things. And then we're sweating our asses off because it's so hot in the house. All those locations we shot, like, basically most of our locations in a single day. So the first day of production, we shot 4 locations, including like the funeral scene, the interior of the train, all of the driving stuff, and the intro to the film where they're on the, like, they're just kind of outside
The campus.
the campus, and then the evening shot. We did a night exterior there as well with Echo, Jordan's character. Um, with her talking on the phone. So we shot like a ton of stuff for the first day, and it was just like hectic, just running all over the place.
Yeah, that was a lot of boxes to check off on day one. But the goal there was if we could get all of the outlying scenes, like Brad had just mentioned, and then basically we went from that to the therapist office, and then basically we just moved into the house. We wanted to just get into the house where we could film the rest of the movie, basically, where we could just hunker down and take it from there. As far as challenging stuff goes too, I feel like a lot of the VFX stuff, we're shooting on a tight time, tight budget and a tight timeline. So, like the VFX stuff is always, there's always an added kind of technical challenge. Like we're shooting extra plates and separate comps and trying to line things up. Like when the ghost attacks Beth, or actually one thing too that looking back was very challenging was the outside the house at nighttime, because we only had one, like that essentially we had to switch our shoot schedule to an overnight. And in Winnipeg, when we were filming in late July, I mean, the sun goes down at 11 p.m. and it already starts coming up at 4 a.m. So we had such a small window, all of the night stuff. So like, it's just like, we didn't even have a chance to breathe. Like we actually had a walking lunch. Like we didn't have a lunch. Like everyone was just kind of eating as we went because we just couldn't take a break. We were just chasing the sun.
Yeah, we had no time. But
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Also just like the wormhole stuff, of course, coming up with the type of lighting that you want to do and trying to create something out of nothing. I mean, we're in front of a green screen, and we had a fan to help Richard, feel like there's motion. I have the lights animating past him so that it feels like there's some sort of movement for him to respond to, but there's not a whole lot for him to react to in those moments. So you're trying to create an environment that he can, look good in, but also feel like he's traveling through time or whatever. So that was tricky.
I have a question for BJ. When you were at the festival, did you stay all the way to the end? Like, did you see the secret screening?
Did I see the what?
The secret screening?
Geez, you know what? I was there, but I don't know if I was in the secret screening. I was definitely.
No.
What was the secret screening?
I can't tell you. It's secret.
Yeah, I was here. Okay,
you
fine.
Would know if you'd been in there. For our audience members who are longtime lurkers, there's a film that we sometimes play at the secret screening that has sort of a representation of someone moving through the fourth dimension. And that is one of the things that I was like, oh, it reminds me of this thing. Obviously, you did it much, much better because you have actual tools and effects and skills at your disposal.
Yeah.
In the secret screening film, it is a charming effect. But it is, yes, for our audience. So the next time you come up, you'll have to stay for it.
Yeah, definitely. I was there. I think I was just kind of like chatting with some other folks that were around and stuff. But I will definitely be there for the sequence.
Okay.
Look what happened this time. I missed it. Now I didn't get to see.
No, it's okay. When you see it, you'll know. So let's talk about the characters a little bit, because they're kind of most of the time in horror movies you don't have like rocket scientists hanging out in a haunted house and like figuring stuff out. Was that I mean, how did that come into effect? Was that part of the script that Ken had written? Did you decide to just make all the characters super smart math students and
Yeah,
to kind of
I
give
think
them a leg up on the mystery?
yeah, I mean, like I think a byproduct of the story as a whole is like, you know, if our characters couldn't hang with the type of problems that they were facing, then they'd kind of be out of luck from the start. But you know, because his mom was brilliant and he's brilliant, like it allows us to explore this journey that he goes through. And because of that, like we wanted to make his friend Jordan, you know, she's obviously like a little bit quirky and happy-go-lucky, but she also has a whole different set of skills. Like she's hacking locks and cracking into the laptops and stuff. So it was really cool. And then Beth, the Roger's girlfriend, you know, I thought she was pretty cool too, because like she's in some of the same classes as him. But there was like a fun opportunity to kind of like show just like where he was at, I guess, intellectually. You know, like you know, we were just trying to drop little nuggets in as we go. Like, you know, we find out he did like 2 weeks of homework on the drive to the small town, or like when he comes home and Beth says, I got to go study for the biochem test. And he's like, why? And she's like, well, because we're not all geniuses, you know, like, you know, it's almost like he doesn't kind of get the memo when it comes to being a regular person sometimes. And I felt like actually that was one of the anchors to his mom. Like, for as much as him and his mom didn't really seem to get along, I think there's a lot of his mom's personality in him. Like when she was in the basement working on the time machine, or when he also gets into those kind of like fixated modes where he just starts working through equations. Like he is kind of a chip off the old block, but you know, I think that really works well as a, you know, in how they're kind of set against each other in the story.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So in terms of the character development, like you kind of go from like Jordan's kind of a quirky, you know, as you said, happy-go-lucky, but then there's that moment where Roger like really hurts her feelings because he is essentially implying that she is a slut, but she's like, F you, man. And it's interesting how she kind of goes from being like, like she and clearly in love with him, I think, or something.
Yeah, I think she is. I think she's in love with him. But you know, it's funny because someone else brought that up too. And when we were on set, we were talking about that, like Richard and Echo, and you know, the way that they were kind of looking at it was like they've been friends for so long. Like they've known each other since they were kids playing with like a pinwheel. Like, you know, so like what were they, like 4 or 5 years old? They've known each other for so long that I think Roger's character really didn't think what he was going to say would hurt her feelings, but because the nature of their relationship is evolving, you know, more particularly for her at that time, for him, you know, it kind of stung a little deeper than he would have thought. So yeah, it was interesting though how we looked at it on set, and then how some people are like, man, that was harsh. And you're not wrong. It was. I think that kind of ties into what Roger can be like sometimes. Like maybe, I don't know, the way I've kind of looked at it is sometimes I kind of think like he's a little higher on the IQ, but maybe a little lower on the EQ, where he doesn't like think about other people's feelings and, you know, before he acts. And then he's like, you know, and then he's got to, you know, he's still figuring out people, whereas like math problems and equations are not as big of an issue for him.
Right. Gotcha. Interesting. That brings up a point of curiosity for me. Had there been more scenes with Jordan and Roger's children? Because it seems like we only really get that one moment where they're kind of sitting on the couch together when he's like traveling through time.
Yeah, that's a good question. But no, the only shot that we did for that, and the reason that we wanted to put that in the wormhole was because as he starts to travel, as you can see, it's like we're seeing glimpses into stuff from the film. So we're establishing like the traveling back. But as the travel extends, like the jumps are getting bigger. Like we jump to him leaving the house and his dad giving him a hug, and then we see his dad consoling him when his mom dies, and really that last step right before we kind of get out of there is we wanted to see, like, even then, like, again, as kids, right, like they were still so close. Like even then, like Jordan's always kind of been there for him, right? And so that's why we put it in, but we didn't shoot any additional scenes with them.
Other than the photograph of them in the treehouse or whatever.
Yeah, there's the photo of them in the treehouse as well. So there's another little, like, nugget of their past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wondered about, because you could tell right away that they were, that they were childhood friends. There was that kind of easy chemistry between them. It was pretty clear, I think, from the beginning what was happening with the two of them. But it was I kind of wish we had seen a little bit more of their friendship as kids, because it sounded like she'd gone through a lot with him, and then we just get that little piece in the
that would have been kind of cool if we would have been able to explore a little more on that. That would have been nice, actually. I agree. maybe we'll do some pickups and we'll cut it into the director's cut.
Cut it in there, the extended cut.
Yeah. But actually, one other note, I guess, about like Roger and Jordan is I really like the nature of their relationship in two capacities, because like Jordan really does kind of take the role of like the best friend when Beth is still there, but when they break up, like I feel like their chemistry gets even better like when it's just them two. And I mean, like as performers and as characters in the film, like it was really cool. When we were watching it in the edit, where like, for example, they're joking about nuking the house from orbit and they're gonna wear cat bells, and it felt very natural to me. And it was so cool to watch, because I mean, when you're editing and you're stuck in the editing lab, like Brad and I have watched this stuff a million times, and we stepped away and we took a little break in the edit, and when we were watching it again, and that scene in particular, I was like, oh man, they really do have a good chemistry, these two characters. And I really think you feel it, especially when Beth leaves. Like their relationship evolves again, where they just get to settle into their patterns of what they've always been.
Totally. And it does seem like they kind of stop censoring their own shorthand. Like they have this like not secret, but they have their own language that they speak with each other that really comes out when Beth is not there.
Yeah.
And it does seem like Jordan especially is like, she's trying to make an effort to make her not feel excluded, but it's like how siblings have, their own shorthand, or people have been married
totally
forever have their own shorthand.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I think that's a pretty accurate way to look at it. Yeah.
Nice. Let's see. I have some comments in the chat here. I'm gonna scroll back up because they're coming through. So a bunch of people said they loved the ending. It was perfect.
Oh,
Very
awesome.
well
That's
That's
great.
awesome.
Very well done. And someone, Zer Mixalat, said an amazingly awesome twist on a ghost story. And then Sean Marrier asks, was the gun, like the time travel gun, design based on Ghostbusters? I wanted to say don't cross the streams, but there was only the one.
That's funny.
Definitely draw.
I think
Do we lose BJ?
BJ's frozen.
No.
Right here. Hello.
He's in a wormhole.
Yeah.
We can
Beej?
still hear you though, Brad. So go ahead if you want to say some things about the time travel gun.
Yeah, the time travel gun. I mean, it took us a while to kind of come up with the design. Again, it was our lovely art department, Jason Wilkins and his team. But yeah, I think there's definitely an element of Ghostbuster reference there, but like with the backpack and the whole, like cabling and stuff. There's BJ.
Am I back?
You're back.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I was just
Nice
saying there
to be
is like a subtle hint to, well, not so subtle, I guess, but a little hint of Ghostbusters in there somewhere, I think, for the wormhole gun.
Oh, sorry. I had a window up there. I was watching some shorts. Apologies. Yeah, sorry. I think, yeah, I'm not going to deny that it definitely draws some inspiration from Ghostbusters because the movie's great. But basically, what we wanted to do, like one thing that I wanted to do was when the mom was working on the time machine, I wanted that to look like a mini Hadron Collider. So that's why it's got like the rings and stuff like that. But yeah, it kind of feels like a proton pack that's been put in a backpack, and obviously, like the gun is homaging a little bit of Ghostbusters, and yeah, I'm okay with that because I grew up on Ghostbusters, so a little nugget to sneak in there.
So that's super intentional, but not
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not overtly a proton pack, but when you assemble all the pieces together, you can kind of make it what it is.
So you're not mad that people make that connection.
Nah, it's all good.
Yeah. Okay.
No, you can't have it. It's different.
Hey, he was busting ghosts anyway, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. He's
Pretty
trying.
much. Let's see. Someone else said, it's exactly the kind of spookiness I love, and I can't decide if I love Jordan or want to strangle her, but I bet that's most of the people in her life.
Yeah, I actually, that's I think that's accurate. Like Jordan knows how to push buttons for sure, but there's something about her too where she's just, kind of lovable. So yeah, she is who she is. For better or worse, her and Roger are stuck together.
Nice.
Yeah, even in that new timeline, who knows?
Yeah.
And let's see. Let's talk about the psychologist, because Ed M says, also, it's never a good sign when the psychologist suddenly announces they're going on indefinite leave because of their sick aunt.
Because they saw some shit. Yeah, exactly.
Saw some shit. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That was the lady who played Dr. Henrietta Cox. Her name is Marina Stephenson Kerr. She's local from Winnipeg, where we live. And anytime there's like Winnipeg's a pretty bustling film town, especially now. We have like a really good tax credit and a lot of big projects are coming here. And she books in like everything. So she's been on like Channel Zero, The Grudge, like all these things. And she was so good. And well, the fact that we were able to get her was amazing. She's awesome. And I really like those scenes because when he goes to the therapist to try to like extract information, they're always at odds with one another. Like she's trying to deny giving him what he needs because she just wants to like leave it behind. But obviously Roger needs this information to like figure out what's going on. And one of my favorite things about the therapist office is that it's the only time we really get out of the house once we settle into the story. So we kind of used it as a palate cleanser. We changed up the score style. And it was just an opportunity for us to kind of like get out, refresh, and then go back in the house as we're kind of unraveling the mystery a little further. So yeah, she was great. And a fun fact, actually, before we did get into the house, like Brad was saying, we shot 4 locations on the first day. Then we did the therapist's office next. And if I'm not mistaken, we filmed 11 pages in one day. So we like filmed all of that, and we weren't sure if we were going to get it, but I mean, there's some pretty dialogue and like narrative heavy points in there, but yeah, we managed to make it happen. So that was good. We had to take care of 10% of the film in one day. So that was good.
And also she was actually there for our first table read, which was really fun. She
pretty much booked the role like at the table read. So we're like, hey, you want it?
Yeah.
Great.
Fun. And then Sean Marrier said, loved the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game trope of breaking and entering to progress the plot. I'm assuming he means when they break into the psychologist's office to
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then the flashlight that doesn't work.
Yeah, I like that scene.
Yeah. It's interesting because like that's like, again, that solidness of the relationship with like who you call to go break into an office with you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And they're just so casual about it, right? B&E.
Yeah. What's that, Brad?
They're so casual about it. Just, want to go for a B&E? Yeah, all right. B&E.
Yeah, I feel like Jordan's the one that gets Roger in more trouble than the other way around. She's definitely the one that's finding ways to, get into trouble.
Mm-hmm. And it's the psychologist also plays a nice counterpoint to their like insistent delving into this mystery, and where she is kind of the smart, for the scenario of Call of Cthulhu role-playing game, if people are not familiar with it, usually you go and explore things, and like if you see certain things and miss your sanity roll, you lose sanity points. So it seems like
Right.
they've made all their sanity rolls so far, but they're going to get to a point where they may lose them all, whereas the psychologist has lost just enough that she's still with it, and she still kind of understands what's happening, but is kind of hesitant to go any further lest she lose more of her sanity.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I mean, basically when she finally caves and tells him what she saw, like you can tell, like that's not a memory she wants to delve back into, and that's not something she wants to revisit, which is good because she has something to protect in that she was like having an affair with Roger's dad, but like she also did experience some stuff that like she was not prepared to see. And it's cool because like I think it just maybe added like a little bit more complexion to her character, and it just made, like I said, that push-pull dynamic of their relationship. It just had more layers to play with.
Really, really cool.
She's on the brink though, the sanity roll. So
yeah,
close.
she really is.
She rolls one more one and she's done.
Marrowbones asks, can you talk about the differences in approach between a short film and a feature?
Yeah, sure. By the way, I like the name Marrowbones. Very cool. And yeah, a feature for one costs way more, and I find that it's just like there's a lot more planning that has to go in it, obviously. But I mean, I don't think it's like an exact extension, if you will, of like how you would go about a short. It's almost like the workload kind of magnifies. And again, like in a short, you can you can plan for like a 3 or 4 day shoot, and because of the nature of a short, like if you're shooting like a 10 or 15-minute film, you're probably not dealing with 3 timelines. You don't have to worry as much about like act structure. And so for this feature, I found like there was a lot of complexity in how we had to go about planning it. Like I mentioned earlier, there's 3 timelines, we had kids, different makeup things, and so I really have to give a lot of credit to my first AD, Drew McLean. He was awesome, and he really helped us like dial that thing in. But for me, when I look at a feature, the biggest challenge for me when you're creating a feature is like the second act, the fun and games, right? Because like you can have a good opening, and you can know where you want it to end, but it's like you got to fill the middle ground with like interesting stuff, and you don't want to overstay your welcome, and you don't want to underperform kind of in the middle section. But luckily, I feel like with the return, there's always like a steady stream of like information for the mystery that Roger's trying to uncover, and but that would be to me the biggest thing, biggest difference, I think, is like you really want to have a strong middle ground, I guess, on the feature, and obviously just the cost and the planning. There's just more locations, more people that you got to talk to and get permits from, and insurance, and all that kind of stuff. Everything just adds up.
Yeah, and I think also from a cinematography perspective, it's just like juggling so many more balls in terms of, in a short film, you often, shoot out a location in a day and you don't come back there. Whereas in this, we're 10 days in this house, and it's got to have a sense of style that kind of continues through the film, or perhaps evolves, and you may not be shooting it chronologically. So you may be jumping back and forth to something that you shot a piece of 3 days ago, and you have to, kind of get your brain back in that same mode and be like, okay, well, how did that look, and how is this going to cut with that? And there's those types of considerations that in a short film maybe don't come up nearly as often, or as aren't as important.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, you have to on I guess like a more abstract concept. Yeah, you have to kind of like get your brain ready to like jump around to a lot of scenes. I mean, again, the way that the script works, because we have so many flashbacks and so many like little cut scenes, I think there was like 165 scenes in the film, right? But that would be like flash to this, cut to this, flash to this. And I remember like when we started on day 1, day 2, and we had like all 14 flashbacks still lined up. And I was like, okay, like I felt like every day we got closer to the end and I could scratch things off. I was like, okay, I don't have to think about mom in the shower anymore. That's off my plate. I don't have to think about mom crawling out of the vent. All right, that's off my plate. And it's like the closer that you get to the end is it helps you kind of like regain your focus. But just because there were so many like weird little things that we were trying to fit in, like we really were trying to pay a lot of attention to detail, which mentally, you know, you got to just stay in the zone a lot longer.
So it's more like running a marathon as opposed to a sprint.
Actually that's yeah.
Well, even on the weekends after we'd wrap, me and Beej would just hang out at his place, you know, just going over our shot list and making sure we were ready for the next day, you know, like on Monday, so that we knew exactly where we needed to be. Because you just like, yeah, we just hung out all, like, you know, for 3 weeks. We just basically were inseparable. So
Yeah. And actually, one other note, I guess, about a feature versus a short is like, due to the nature of a short being a short, I mean, you know, you have a limited amount of pages that you'll be shooting, but in a feature, I feel like one really fun thing that you can do as a director, especially when you're working with performers like this, like Richard was amazing, and Echo was amazing, and Sarah was awesome, and Marina was great, and you can, because they're on this journey with you, you can like reference all these different scenes. So like if you're trying to get a different reaction out of Jordan, you know, she's talking with Richard, be like, well, remember this scene when like this happened? Maybe if you kind of play, you know what I mean? You can reference all these things already kind of like explored as a performer, and you can pull that stuff back. So it gives you like extra tools in your kit that you can draw from, and it's all on the page. And that was something that I really enjoyed doing as well.
Nice. Well, excellent. We should probably wrap up a little bit. Is there anything else you wanted to share about your movie that you didn't already get to talk about? Both of you.
Yeah, I don't know. We touched on some interesting points, I guess. I guess one thing that that's different in this film than what I normally do is I tend to shoot my films in 2:3:5 aspect ratio. So this one is 16:9, and the reason we did that is because the flashbacks played such a heavy role in the film. I just felt that those would make more sense and aesthetically worked better in 2:3:5. So I still got a little 2:3:5 in there, but the main film as a whole played in 16:9. So on my next one, I want to jump back to 2:3:5 because I think it's a happier place for me to be. But for this one, it just made sense. So yeah, it might be an anomaly in my filmmaking career in that it's not as like, you know, cropped as I normally shoot.
Interesting. Yeah, we noticed that when we were watching, and we're like, is the aspect ratio different? And then we realized that it was always happening during the flashbacks. We're like, okay.
Yeah, we kind of use that like jittery cut effect to kind of get us in there, which was kind of a fun thing. I think that worked out pretty well. But,
nice.
Yeah.
All right.
And I guess sorry, if you want, I can touch on one other little aspect too. Our composer for the film, his name's Kevin Cronin, and one thing that we wanted to do is the score starts very classic, I guess, in its approach, and then I wanted it to be like subtly shifting into a bit more of a science fiction-y soundscape as we get closer to the third act. And what we used the therapist unlocking his memories as the hinge where things started to like open up and change as we were reaching the end of the film. So we were trying to use those little moments to kind of like keep shifting the film as we move forward as well.
Nice. I feel like you really accomplished something great here. I mean, everything from, you know, the script and the film and the soundtrack, as you described, just kind of all works together to give you this, like, take you on this real journey through the film. So thank you, and good job.
Thank you very much.
So I would like for you to tell people where they can find your work and where they can stay up to date with your new projects.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, go ahead, Brad. I'll let you go first.
I'm pretty simple. I'm just on Instagram at Brad Film.
Yeah. Don't ask him what he had to do to get that handle. So it's it's crazy. it's too good. Mine is just my name. It's BJ Vero at Twitter and Instagram. I'm primarily on Instagram, but I'm also on Twitter. And Brad and I also have a company called Strata Studios, and you can find us on Facebook for that. And that's more of our broad strokes, whatever project we're kind of working on at the moment. You can find that out there as well.
Great. And when should we be looking for your new film to come out?
Or
too soon to say.
Well, if the landscape of this COVID-stricken hellscape was different, I would love to have been shooting our next feature this fall, but I might really try to like strong arm something for like the spring, so that it might be ready for late 2021. And if not late 2021, for sure 2022, early 2022, it'll be ready. But I'd like to get another feature off the ground next year. It's just I can't sit around that long. We gotta
yeah, we gotta shoot something.
Just do it all over Zoom. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But if it's the project that I think it's gonna be, I think you guys are gonna love it. So I'm hoping it's gonna be that one. And you know what? If we get to a point where we're close to shooting it, I'll even send you and Brian like a little sneak peek of a little clip or something like that.
Ooh, so. Okay. We can be trusted. Yeah. We can be trusted.
HP Lovecraft Film Festival exclusive. Yeah. You're here first.
Awesome. Excellent. Yeah, we would love that. Well, thank you so much for joining us and for letting us share your film online and being here with us.
Honestly,
there was a question about there's one more question about the film. Is it do you have a distribution deal, or is there one coming, do you think?
Yeah, we're in talks right now with the distributor. Yeah, we actually have a distribution plan. We haven't like officially signed it all yet, so we won't say who we are with yet, but we had a couple distributors come at us. And they enjoyed the film, but I think we've settled on the distributor that we want to go with. And if all goes according to plan, I think this movie will be coming out in the first quarter of 2021, I believe. Probably late quarter, Q1 2021.
Nice. Well, that's something for us to all look forward to in the new year.
Yeah. Awesome.
Because a couple of people that ask because they can't wait to show people. They can't wait to share it with people.
Man,
awesome. That's great.
That's amazing. And like seriously, I know you said thanks for letting us be a part of this, but I'm like a huge fan of Lovecraft, and I mean that's why I flew to Portland last time. I'm honored to be a part of it. I'm so glad that we got to kick off the opening night, and thank you very much for having us on board.
I can't wait to see it for myself. The festival, I mean.
We got to do that other movie then, Brad. We got to make that other one.
Yeah.
We'll be back. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. If they'll have us, yeah.
Cross your fingers. Everyone chant
exactly.
to make your sacrifices to Cthulhu, everyone.
Oh yeah, they're getting lined up. So
Well, excellent. Well, thank you so much. And for everyone who's watching, we'll be back in the morning with a panel at 10 a.m. on Herbert West as cultural icon. With our panelists Pete Rollick, Molly Tanzer, Christine Morgan, Kelly Young, and Ken Haidt. I think that's everybody. And we have that, and then another panel at 11:30, and then films at 1 and 3 and 7 and 9. And Q&A.
Yeah, the fun never ends.
We are, updating the website all the time. So for the latest information, be sure to check the schedule page and your festival stream page, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye, everybody.